team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sam, Ben, and Jim back with you. Coming at you live from the Andrew Downs AKC Marketing Studio, sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company and Green Beret Realty. Appreciate you joining us. Guys, how's it going?
Good.
Ben,
It's been a minute.
Ben, you look really good.
Thanks.
Jim,
I've been tanning.
Jim, you look like you've aged 12 years.
Oh, my Lord. Do we have to start already?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of how we get the clicks that we get, Jim, is we make fun of you.
I know. That's what everybody I talk to that I know that watches it, they like that I'm the one that gets all the crap. So, hey, if
I'm kidding, Jim.
No, you're not. That's all right.
You don't look a day over 82.
Oh, if I could punch you right now, I would.
Well, why do you think we're not together?
Oh.
So,
hey, I wanted to go ahead, Ben.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to Three Beards Media for having 3 podcasts nominated by the Iowa Podcast Awards. That's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure. False Starts was nominated for the best wellness and relationship podcast. Old Man Strength was for the best interview podcast, and they do have a ton of great interviews. And then our own, us three blind refs for best sports podcast. So that is pretty cool.
Who knew?
Yeah, I mean, here's kind of what we got going. Again, sponsored by the Iowa Podcasts Awards, and there's 6 nominees in this category, and I've listened to at least one of those. Don't know them all, but that's some pretty stiff competition. So not sure we're deserving yet, but certainly grateful to be nominated, and pretty cool. I'm not sure who nominated us, but just happy to kind of be a part of it, and again, thanks to Three Beards for sponsoring us and allowing us to do this and use their platform. And I encourage all of our listeners to, check out Three Beards' other podcasts out there, because they're all, have something unique and special, and they're just great people. So winners for that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Winners for that will be, I believe, September 15th. So, and we can even go. We haven't really discussed that, but might be worth running over to Cedar Rapids and making an appearance.
I will not be able to be there because I'm heading back from Chicago that weekend. I'm going out to watch my Oakland A's hopefully win a game or 2. So
why do you keep trying?
They're right now they have the 4th best record since July 1st. They're winning games.
And they're not as bad as the White Sox.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If I'm going to the White Sox games, hopefully.
Oh, well, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So the last 12 times I've actually been in person to watch the A's, they've lost. So we figured maybe go to Chicago to watch them play the White Sox. We can see a win. So anyway.
Wait, 12 times you've watched them and they've lost?
12 in a row. I've watched them way more than that, but 12 in a row. The last time I saw them win was in 2021 at Minnesota. They won 7-6. So yeah, it's a bad streak.
So hopefully you don't jinx us like you jinx the White Sox. I mean, because this is a major award.
I love it. If that's what I get, I guarantee you that is going on the stand right beside my chair in the living room. Absolutely.
I guarantee you I know one person who's not going to let you do that.
You think? You don't think she will?
No.
You might be right. It might have.
I would imagine a daycare accident may knock that right out of the window.
Well, then it'd be just like the movie.
Yeah.
It would.
Yep.
It would.
I'll be gluing it back together.
Shout out to A Christmas Story. I've always wanted to put that in one of our podcasts. So here we go.
That's awesome. That is a classic.
Great movie.
Good stuff.
So
Let's
just
go
to
ahead
talk about our podcast a little bit here, as far as getting, nominated for this, it's crazy because it was over a year ago. Sam came up with the idea. We thought it was great. We kind of, kicked around some names. We finally came up with Three Blind Refs. And then, then Three Beards Media just happened to catch a tweet that Sam put out. And here we are. I mean, trust me, we're very grateful for this because we did not, we did this just to have fun, put out some information, have some good times. And so whatever happens after that, is just icing on the cake.
For sure.
Definitely.
And, Sam, it was a great idea to have us do this and your connections, of course, with Chip and everybody. And, just the stuff that we're still working on, making the podcast good, adding videos and pictures and different things and starting and stopping on time. I mean, it's certainly a work in progress. And we kind of got to the state tournament and had, an episode we really wanted to do where we wanted to be live down there, and we pulled it off, but our sound quality was just awful. And I feel terrible for that. And, it was a learning experience. And we had 2 great interviews down there, had a live game going. And I think we can build on that and just become better and better. And, we're going to get better equipment here as we keep going. And I think we got a lot of real cool things that we can have in the future that are just going to make this better and better. So stick with us. It's been a learning curve. And I think this is episode 10 for us. So
the thing was, we really prepared for that state tournament. Like we took the headsets out, 5 minutes before the podcast, maybe 15. So it was a little bit our fault that we really didn't get things going because they didn't work good on my Mac. And so when we get some new equipment,
wasn't Ben like, hey guys, here, try these headphones. I got them on the black market today.
Yeah. I just got them on the TikTok shop.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, but yeah, we'll be better prepared for that next year. We'll do it. We'll have to do one during the boys and the girls state tournament next year.
And really, the 2 interviews we had, Joe Segrist, coach, girls coach from Norwalk, and then Ben Van Wyk, from the girls union. I think we can get them back on here, relatively soon this season and kind of have some real discussions that we wanted to that night that hopefully will be, a little bit better, than where we were at. So, but that was February 29th. So it feels like, we build up till the end of the season and then we kind of go our separate ways for a while.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that's, that we don't keep in touch. We certainly do, but Sam has kids in Little League and everything else. And my daughter's playing softball and my other daughter graduated from high school. So, And Jim, you just traveled the heck out of it, grandkids and traveling. It's been tough to get back to this, but I think I'm pretty excited and glad to have you guys back and get this thing going.
Most definitely.
So here's, if you guys remember, here's kind of a picture of us at the state tournament with Ben Van Wyk there.
That?
I don't even remember. I had it on my phone, though, as I was kind of looking through things last night. So that was,
cool.
Somebody took that. Pretty cool. And then kind of from where we were sitting, this was our view.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep, that was fun.
So, thanks to the girls' union, Gene and Ben especially, for allowing us to do that. And, it was just a really cool thing. So I'm glad we tried it. And like I said, hopefully we'll be better next time. So
it can only get better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So
I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. So I think real quick here before we kind of recap the end of the season, kind of where we left off, we're going to add a special guest right now that's going to be with us the entire podcast.
Excited. I'm so excited.
So he's been texting at me here, and he's ready to go. So I'm going to add him on here. Let's get Casey.
Oh my! It's you.
Your microphone's not on,
Gotcha.
Casey. There we go.
There, hey.
I've been listening to you guys talk about how you can improve this podcast, and this is a big first step for y'all. So, I mean, what better way to start getting better than having a guy like me on, So,
Wow.
Very Casey.
In case you didn't know, Casey is very humble.
Yes.
Hey, Casey, those lockers behind you was one of those gyms in high school?
Well, it's funny because I thought all of the guys in Jim's age group were Yankees fans. I didn't know.
Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean,
Babe Ruth, yeah.
My dad's a Yankee fan, and I think his dad was a Yankee fan.
Okay, I'm going to give you the story because I've said it numerous times. I want everybody to know why I'm an Oakland A's fan.
Because you were alive when the A's moved there?
Because everybody wants to hear this.
They moved to Oakland in 1968, and I was alive. You're right. 3 years old. But for those of you that can remember, at one time, the I-Cubs were the Iowa Oaks. Belonged to the Oakland A's. So I went to games. My dad would take us 2 or 3 times a year, and I became an Oakland A's fan. And, I'm not a bandwagon guy, so I stuck with them.
I went to an Iowa Cubs game this summer, and it was a throwback game, and they were called the Oat Milkers.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember that one.
Oak Milkers.
Oat.
No, oat. Like
O-A-K.
Oat.
Like goat without the G. Oat.
Oat. Like oat milk?
Oat Milkers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oat Milkers.
I did not know that. That's a new one.
I was confused. I didn't know which team was which.
So Casey clearly didn't follow instructions and put his last name, but this is Casey Pelzer joining us. And Casey is another official friend of ours that worked quite a few games with us last year and will be reffing with us again this year, God willing, of course. And he's probably been the biggest pain in our ass about wanting to be on the podcast. Would that be fair?
Oh, very fair.
I'm just trying to help you guys out. I just want to help you out. That's all So,
we'll probably get a lot of Western Iowa views, Southwest Iowa
see.
at least tonight.
We'll let you know what the numbers do after tonight's episode.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know there were directions. I didn't look at your outline that you sent, but there's something about name recognition. I don't really need the last. It's just Casey. people just know, right?
You're like McLovin. Just all I need is one name. That's it.
Oh, awesome.
So Sam's going to kind of lead us through a recap here of the end of the season, which really was the state tournament, girls and boys state tournaments. In case you were a big part of that. So that's why we brought you on right now rather than kind of after our break. So we're going to kind of just talk through all those games and different things. So just join us like we're, making fun of Jim normally, so.
Join the bandwagon, Casey. We'd love to have you.
We are going to take a real quick break for our recap for the end of the season here is brought to you by Green Beret Realty, one of our new sponsors. So real quick here, I'm going to play their ad, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk about the end of the season.
In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
How cool is that ad?
And
That's
we're
awesome.
back. That is cool.
We'll bring in a whole different class of viewers on that one.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, that ad, Casey, the numbers are going through the roof right now.
I can see him climbing.
60 viewers watching us right now. That's got to be a record. 40 of those are Casey's family.
Right. It's his girl. He's like log on from every device that you have.
I did.
Do you guys have internet in Southwest Iowa? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy at times. I was trying to find the best place in the house to sit with the strongest signal.
Well, you don't have wireless there yet, do you?
Is it still
No, I
dial
gotta
up?
plug it in. I gotta plug it in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, dial up.
Oh,
Connection
man.
failed.
See, if we talked about that beforehand, we could have played that sound.
Oh,
See?
man.
Pam did it better.
That's fair.
That was Sam. He's great.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. What do we got going
Okay,
next?
let's recap let's start with the girls state tournament. So on February 26th, which seems like
Hey, well, hold on a second. You guys want me to step out during this one?
Well, we were.
you might want to.
Was it episode 9 where we had your pity party for not making girls state?
yeah. It really, it was fun, but
Are you
I
better
got
now,
stuff to
Jim?
watch. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There'll be
So
pictures of you in the boys tournament, Jim.
Yes. Ben and Casey and myself had a 5A first round game, Ankeny Centennial versus Waukee, which ended up with a final score of 46-44 and came down to a last second shot to tie
Barn burner.
that was missed. That was a fun game to work.
Do you remember this picture?
I don't know. I think I blacked out for a little bit.
Did you guys have internet issues?
Right now?
Did you guys all see that?
Yeah. I didn't because mine's plugged in.
You look a little frozen there, Ben.
Are you guys there?
I'm here.
Ben's cheesing.
Ben is frozen.
Ben is.
Cold as
Let
ice.
it go, Elsa.
Hello?
Let it go, Elsa.
Can you hear me now, Ben? I think Ben is out of it right now. So, Sam, you can kind of continue, I guess, till he gets back.
Moving on. I had my first championship game this past season in the girls, which was an awesome experience. That was a 2A girls state final, Panorama versus Dyke New Hartford. 48-46 was that final score. And it came down to an intentionally missed free throw at the end for a chance to tie.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was a fun one. fun one to do.
You had a couple really good games there, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes, I did. Casey, what was you remember your second girls state game?
I don't. Isn't that terrible?
I didn't. No, because I didn't remember mine, but Ben put it on the outline. So
well, I was just thinking when you said our first game when I was with you and Ben, I couldn't tell you anything about the game. Like right now, and the funny thing is I've even gone back and watched them since then a handful of times, but I couldn't tell you. I believe I had. Would Solon make sense?
Yes, you did.
I did, yeah, and I'd have to.
So you had Solon with Jamie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jamie's a coach we've known for a long time. Jamie used to be at Clark Osceola or I-35. His dad was at Clark, and
guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, super guy. And great to officiate, but yeah, so it's just funny how, moments after the game, you can recall every single play that happens. And, weeks later, you can't hardly recall but
the teams
plays, right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I have a hard time remembering like who won the Super Bowl last year or the football national championship. I always forget that.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely always forget who was the runner-up, who lost the game. That's one you can never remember. It's like, I can't remember who they played. But, yeah, I'm sitting here, you're trying to think. I would have remembered everything had Ben not put this on our agenda here that we've got, our outline from what I refed in the boys state tournament, because I just, when you get done, you're kind of, right, like you say, when you go in the locker room, you kind of hash out plays and that. And once you kind of leave, it just kind of goes away.
Yeah, but I will say this, and Sam, you'll know this, and Jim too. There are games that are unforgettable.
Oh,
in a state championship game, I mean that's one that you're probably never going to forget. So that was a cool thing that you got to officiate that, and Jim and I had one last year. And so those are the games, along with others that for whatever reason, they just are a little different, so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely. My very, very first girls state final, that's like you said, Casey, that's something that I'll never forget. Very grateful to have the opportunity too. So even though Jim didn't think I deserved it, somebody else did. So.
He's lying, everybody. Sam is a very good official, but since he gives me a hard time all the time, I do have to give it back to him. But definitely deserving of doing a state championship game. So,
well, and I think the other thing,
go ahead, Casey.
It's like the other thing is we don't hold on to things. So I think as you work so many games and so many different teams.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, welcome back. I think that was some work of the Lord, like kicking you off for making fun of
Here we go.
Like, here, let's make fun of Pelzer in Southwest Iowa's internet, and then all of a sudden you don't, in the city there, you don't even have the internet working. So anyway,
that is awesome.
The Lord is on my side. But anyway,
lightning strike.
What I was saying was, you work so many different places and teams that you don't really, you have a short-term memory, right? Like you don't carry things into next games. And I think that inability to remember games, like, I think that's important,
Oh, it is.
Because some fans think that we know, you had us 2 years ago. We don't have any idea. I don't know who I reffed. Right. I don't know if you were able to listen. I can't name who I reffed in the state tournament.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. I had to look it up, to be fair. So, quick shout out to Corey Meyer. Number of viewers since Applegate got kicked off, and actually we're up to 72. So yeah,
there's a huge spike.
Could you leave again?
So what game were you talking about? Go ahead.
Well, I forgot to mention I mentioned that I had my first girls state final this year, and I forgot to mention it was with Ben and also Brianne Byerly. who is a
Yep.
great female official. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but she was 3 or 4 months pregnant
Yeah. So
at that
she
time.
was.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had a 4-man crew.
We did 4.
Yeah.
Well, 2-man, 2-woman crew.
Oh, awesome. 4-person crew, I should say.
4-person. Well said. Yeah. So Brienne had her baby Elsie just the 8th of August. So
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
congratulated her on Facebook. And so, yeah, that was our championship crew right there. So let's see. What else did we have? We have this. That's us at the state tournament looking good.
Hey.
Let's see here. I won't go through it all now that I lost some of this. We still talking about girls?
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't went to the boys yet.
Here's kind of what I was kind of showing beforehand, but that was our game. I think our first day there, that Ankeny and that Centennial Waukee game. But yeah. Anyway, back to your point, Casey. I guess I had to look these up because I don't remember from one year to the next. I mean, I kind of remember who I've had and different things, but everything down there is kind of a blur because it's so exciting and it happens so fast. And you're seeing teams maybe you've seen, but maybe you haven't. So it's just a lot going on. So
Ben can look it up because he keeps paper ledgers of where he's been.
it's actually Excel.
Oh, it turned into Excel. It was paper ledgers.
Yes. I was using an abacus.
I don't even know what that is. Jim probably does, though.
Oh,
He created it.
Cool.
Is that like hieroglyphics?
Come on, you don't know what an abacus is?
No, is that like a card catalog at a library?
Oh my Lord! Look it up sometime. I don't even want to go into it.
Casey, do you know what it is?
Ish. I've heard of it.
Ish.
It's like, isn't it an Asian thing with strings and like rocks or beads on it that you move the beads
Yes.
or rocks or whatever? Would that be fair to say, Jim?
That would be fair to say. You can actually buy one at Target, as I'm looking on here right now. That
Hold that
is
close.
an abacus.
Oh.
It's a count.
There's got to be a newer word for that.
Oh,
Thank
my
you,
Lord.
Casey. Holy crap. It's
Calculator.
Like a kid's toy.
Yeah, there is a new one, right? He's right. Calculator.
Calculator.
Who makes
AI.
that? Play School?
Oh,
Um, Are we done talking about the girls? Sorry, I was going.
Yeah,
I don't even.
Yeah, let's
Sure.
move on to the boys.
Okay. Oh, I do want to, before we move on from the girls real quick, I do want to shout out to Jean Berger, who actually retired right after we had her on in the state tournament, so shout out to her and her new retirement endeavors. And I think she's just enjoying grandkids and stuff. And I think I've got a picture here, maybe. Yeah. So here's us down there with Jean, and you'll notice maybe the court was brand new this year, and the girls union, a lot of the people that worked for her put this right on the floor that not a lot of people could see but us, and they named it the Jean Berger Court for the week there. So I just want to kind of add that, and that was pretty cool. So
That was
Very
cool.
cool.
And the
All
idea
right.
behind that, Ben, was where they put her signature was right around Winterset, where she's from.
oh right, yeah. So let me.
Shout out to Winterset.
Yeah, so it's hard to see here with the state, but where Winterset would be is where her signature was. So yeah,
cool.
very cool.
Good
All right.
stuff. Yeah, let's move on to boys state. So Jim, you can go ahead and come join us again
Hey,
because you were with Ben and myself.
not Ben.
No, sorry.
No,
Casey.
You're with Casey and me. We had a 2A first round or it was Western Christian versus Iowa City Regina. Ended up being a little bit of a bigger spread, 56-34.
Was that the hard game to officiate? Was that
Yes.
all the high post stuff and the drives?
Yes.
That's my
Yeah.
second- Okay. I don't know. One of those games I had, there's a lot of decisions to make.
Yes.
I don't remember which one it was, but
Look at you guys.
Man.
no, I think it was a second game. I think I'm thinking of the second.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Game.
It was the close game that we had. Yes.
That was the second game because that was a 2-point
Yep.
game with a shot with about 5 or 6 seconds to go, I think, right?
Yep. Right.
Actually, it was that. Was I on that game?
Yes, you were with us.
The 2-point.
Hey, Kate. Hey, Casey, that last picture, that was the first game you tried the new pants.
Yeah.
Right
No.
here.
No,
No.
he used them in the girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
what'd you think? What'd you think?
They were available during the girls. But I bought them from
We're the only four that understand that right now.
So
For all you
anyway,
people out there in podcast land, they were my pants.
right? Yeah. So I love them. I do. Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably gonna laugh, and that's all right. I felt athletic in them.
You looked athletic in them.
I'm not saying that. I felt it.
Well, I said it.
You
Like
look
some of the guys that run up and down the court that I'm kind of jealous of the way they look when they run and how easily I felt like them.
You looked good.
I think I even sent you guys a clip of me sprinting down the court like a 5-second. I timed myself from like end to end, and I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I'll send it to you. It's pretty impressive.
I thought at first it was a gazelle.
Here's a better look at those pants.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at me putting out the vibe.
You are. You are. Look at that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jim,
goodness.
what do you think Jim's saying to me in that picture?
I'm probably saying, are we going to Buzzard Billy's after this?
Affirmative.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead with your game stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, so we had that first round. Ben and Tim Osterhaus and Brian Abel worked together on a 3A first round, Bondurant Farrar versus MOC Floyd Valley. Again, kind of a bigger spread, 67-50 in that game.
It was closer than that, but a lot of athletes and a lot of, I would say, even though that was a larger spread at the end, it was a lot of decision making. I mean, you know, we can probably get into a little bit of our philosophies kind of after the break here with Casey, but contact is not always contact. And in 3A, 4A, I think we tend to let them play a little bit more and maybe went too far, but you know, I'm not sure it would have changed the game. But one real cool thing about that, the Jesse Van Kalsbeek, I think he ended up being Mr. Basketball, had 37. So that's always pretty cool to watch, you know, a talented athlete like that really throw it in the hoop, man. He was unconscious that night. So good stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you guys had your 1A semifinal, right? That's the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
That was a lot of decision making.
Yeah,
That's
that is
the one. Yeah.
that is the one. Yeah. Lake Mills versus Bellevue Marquette Catholic. Oh yeah, now that I say that out loud, that was the one. Yeah.
Most,
How are they?
59-57.
I don't remember it being that close, but I do remember there was so much action in the lane. Like most high school games, there's not a lot of post touches or even high post touches. And it was like the whole game was around the lane and from the high post in.
Didn't Lake Mills have that Stinsrud kid?
Yeah.
He was a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was a force to be reckoned with. And then I remember Bellevue Marquette Catholic just shot the ball well. But yeah, a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, and
And
you know, one thing I do remember from that game, and I don't know if everybody else had this same feeling, but I thought the Lake Mills coach did a very good job. He was he asked questions. He didn't get real upset about anything. And that, those are the kind of things that sometimes you do take away from those games. You might not remember who it was, but you kind of remember that the coach was just he coached the game and he asked good questions.
Yep. And on the flip side, I did have to tell the Bellevue Marquette Catholic coach to settle down a couple times. Younger guy, excited you're at the state tournament, I understand, but
yep.
And those semifinals are high pressure situations. I think Chuck has always said that, and the semifinals might be the most important games because you've won to get there, and now you're really trying to get to that championship, and it's just really tense. And I think it's it's tense for us too. I think
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
But those are fun for sure. And then I did another 3A semifinal, and that was Davenport Assumption and Decorah. That one actually went to overtime, and I think Decorah led most of regulation and then kind of gave it away, and then Assumption ran away with it. Ended up winning. I think Assumption ended up winning the championship next round too. So quite a run for Assumption there at the end, and that was a lot of physical ball too. So a lot of fun there for sure. One thing I don't know if we talked about, maybe at the state tournament, you get different, would you call them gifts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some are better than others. I mean, I think we have several umbrellas.
I have 2.
I have 2.
Yeah.
Could have had 3, Jim.
We've got like travel cases for a suitcase that I like a lot.
You got one of those?
I haven't gotten one of. I don't have one of those. I really want one.
Just asking. You could have mine after this year.
Pullovers, jackets. Yeah, we've kind of run the gamut. And I won't say whose are better or worse, but here's what we got on the boys' side this year.
I should have wore. Oh, you guys. Oh, yes. that is a great picture.
So Bryant and Tim and I modeling our summer. What would you call those? Bucket hats.
Bucket hats.
Yeah.
That we got from the boys' union this year. So that's.
Have you won it since then?
I don't think it got to the lake yet.
I'm just wondering.
Why does Ben's look so small? Did you get a medium or what?
I have a rather bulbous head.
Kind of a Gilligan look there.
It does look like Gilligan.
Skipper. Oh.
So, yeah, I just wanted to show that because that's just one of the perks of the game, right?
That's awesome.
I do have a question from Drew Shipley here that we're gonna we'll hit on after the break here. But the other thing, kind of then that kind of wrapped up our season. No boys championships, and then I'm on in the girls union. I'm on a basketball advisory committee that we kind of meet with some coaches and ADs and Gary Ross from the union, and Chuck is there, and we just kind of discuss the season, attendances, things that are good, things that are bad, how they kind of make their pairings, rules that went good, maybe rules that went bad, and kind of things for the next season. So we'll kind of talk about this, but some of our input there ended up being used for things that are going to change here for 24-25. So just kind of wanted to touch base on that a little bit, but we're kind of probably ready for a break. So let's do our quick Revelton ad here, and then we'll come back and we'll chat with Casey some more and kind of talk about what we've been doing since the season ended. So we'll be right back.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Shout out to Revelton for their new product. Got my hands on this single barrel bourbon whiskey, and it's even numbered 172 out of 284 probably in this batch. So sipping on that a little bit tonight, and it is delicious. So keep doing what you're doing, Revelton. All right.
Why is Casey's microphone always off? It's
Well,
off.
do you want me to tell you why, Jim?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so I've got 4 French bulldogs that run around this house like crazy, and they're not the quietest dogs in the world. And sitting here in Southwest Iowa and having my bulldogs bark in the background isn't real appealing. So that's why.
I
We are
maybe
pet friendly.
You have
I
4
thought
French
Ben
bulldogs.
had a control there. It could shut you off.
I've got and to be honest, in the world of education, I've gotten really good at Zoom, and this is very similar to that. So I'm pretty good with my mic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Kind of like how Sam, when we were on that commercial, turned off his video. I have a feeling I know what he was doing, but
How'd you know that?
don't worry about it.
Jeez. I can't get away with anything.
Did you see the chat on the side?
What?
Did you see the private chat on the side there that's everybody has? You might have to minimize your screen there a little bit.
Jeez. So what if I was?
See, on the Zoom,
There's nothing wrong with that. We just,
in the Zoom world, I'm
We're
always
saying
afraid,
you can't.
I'm always afraid those private chats aren't really private. So I'm pretty careful with those things, but
You're kind of paranoid, aren't you, Casey?
a little bit.
Pray about it.
which leads us into our next part.
Yeah, let's talk about Casey. So I think, one of the things we want to do here, this podcast, and then, several other episodes, we're going to have different refs on. Casey's our first one. And we want to talk about, you've all heard from us what we do, for our jobs. And, I do taxes, and Jim's an AD and a teacher, and Sam, I don't even know what he does anymore. Brews beer and works for the city of Winterset. But, I think we're all unique, and we all have different reasons we do this, despite having families and 4 dogs and different things like that. But, Casey's kind of a unique perspective because he's a principal. He's been a coach, and we'll really get into that. And he's a pastor too.
I would say sponsor. I was more of a sponsor. I was a basketball sponsor.
Well, let's just start with that. You coached at Atlantic. You were girls coach for how many years?
I think, I don't know, 8, 9-ish.
And that's where we first met. Similar.
Well, is it?
to how I met Jim. Yeah, well, BV maybe.
No, you were way older than me. You were gone before I got there. It probably was.
Probably. But anyway, a lot like Jim, you were also an asshole.
Me?
Yes.
As a coach,
You
yeah.
were?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I remember my last season. I had gotten 5 technicals.
Wow.
Which they were all probably from, I don't know. Anyway, maybe 6. I don't remember, but I remember my dad said to me at the end of that season, you need to be done. And I think you could sense the frustration and just that I wasn't enjoying it. And sometimes you just need to hear it from someone else. But going into the coaching, I always wanted to try officiating. I'd always thought in the back of my mind there were things I would like about it more than coaching. And as you guys know, I'm a slow learner, so it just took me a few extra years to make the transition. But then the weird part, and I don't know if it was this way for you, Jim, but so then my first year officiating, I was just going to do lower level stuff, and you know how that works out. I don't think I did any lower level. And the next thing you know, I've got a 22 varsity game schedule, and I'm working with some of the guys that I just rode their tail the whole game. So I spent a lot of my first year apologizing for my and that's true for my behavior. And so it was a.
Would you say that transitioning from coaching to officiating, that's when you found the Lord?
No.
But he had to utilize those tools a lot. Let's say it that way.
It might have been in there somewhere, actually, but it had nothing to do with the transition. No.
You played basketball at BV, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you have quite an extensive basketball background, and your dad coached for a long time too, right?
Yep. My dad was my coach. My brother, as y'all know, is a coach at Norwalk. So I know the coaching aspect, grew up in it. And I think that's helped, obviously, on the officiating side too. So
I will say one thing about Casey is he's one of the best at talking with coaches. And it probably has to do with you've been on both sides of it.
Yeah. Well, I would see, and I feel like I'm not very good at it.
No, you are.
I feel, and in fact, I've had some coaches tell me, "Why won't you talk to me?" Well, it's because you don't really want to talk.
That's fair.
Right. That is something I always try to work on something throughout the season. And that's always on the short list of things I want to try to get better at, is trying to communicate with them. But I still could get better. But I think knowing that where they're coming from, I think has helped, that I've been on the sideline. But
Casey, I find you to be one of the most, I don't know if quiet, but most calm individuals, referees on the floor. Like nothing bothers you. You don't get too excited about a big play. You just, do what you need to do. And that's impressive. Is that a conscious effort? Is that just who you are personality wise? What do you think that comes from?
I think it's personality. But you've mentioned I'm a pastor, and I've said it several times, like on Sunday mornings, that I think we all experience like the peace in the Lord in different ways. And as crazy as this sounds, I find that peace in a chaotic situation in a loud gym. Like it's hard to explain, but when the gym is louder and the crowd is bigger and the stakes are higher, like it's in that moment that I actually experience that peace. And I would say that's why I really don't get too worked up about things. But I don't know. That's kind of weird, maybe to some people, but
no, that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So faith's important to me, and I don't need to find the quiet place all the time. For me, the loud place is the quiet place. So
very cool. So tell us a little bit about. You don't have to go into a lot of it if you don't want to, but how did you become a pastor? And you're also a principal, and how is interacting with all those different facets and officiating work for you?
Yeah, it's how I became a pastor. I'll give you just kind of the short version. I got to be really good friends with the pastor who was at the church I'm at, but prior to me, Dick Crambeck, and he was an old coach, old AD. We spoke a lot of the same language. He was the first pastor I could go down to his basement and we could talk about sports, and he might let a few curse words slip, and he didn't make you feel uncomfortable, but you still knew that faith was important. And I'm like, wow, you can actually, I hate to say it, but be yourself. I don't want to use the word normal because I'm certainly not normal. But be yourself, and have it mean what it's supposed to mean. And so anyway, he was kind of on the verge of retirement, and he allowed me to fill in a few times, and it just kind of went on from there. So I did that for a long time and officiated, and I was elementary PE. And then I made the jump last year from elementary PE to middle school principal. But the church thing for me is just, it's not really work. I mean, it's extra stuff in my schedule, but it's really what keeps me grounded and leveled. And I don't know, kind of takes the stress away from the other things, I guess. Working with you guys is stressful, so I got to find something to.
I know, right? No, I remember the first time that I learned that you were a pastor, and I think maybe it was to you, Ben, but I was like, dude, there's no way, like, not a chance, like. And like, I don't want anybody to take offense to this, but I was like, this dude's too cool to be a pastor. Like,
well, and I don't ever know if I should take that as a compliment or not, that when people say there's no way, because it's like, okay, do I seem like a phony? Does it, you know what I mean? Like, that's
don't take that the wrong way. But like when it comes down to it, it's like, you're yourself, you're a normal human being. And it's just, I was honestly blown away that like you could be as cool as you were and be a pastor. And that's probably horrible to say, but
I don't know.
But
I'll put it this way, Sam, to kind of build off that. I don't know that we like interject religion a lot in our officiating stuff, right? I mean, probably because we're dealing with a lot of assholes a lot of the time. And so maybe we should, but I think one of the coolest things of last season, working with Casey, and I think it was you and me, Sam and Casey. I don't even know if it was playoffs or at state or what, but
state tournament.
It was state tournament. We did our pregame and then had a prayer together, and it was honestly, it was cool as heck. Like, it was great. I enjoyed it, and it brought a lot of levity to the situation that we were about to walk into, and I think that was unique and awesome. So thank you, Casey.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say sometimes I bring it into officiating, like when I'm running off the court and Jim is by my side, he's running too. I'll just be like, thank God Jim is running
still
off the court
upright.
with me. Yeah. Just a little thank you, God.
I did forget that we have to say a prayer for him every single night that we work together. Please, God, allow him to make it through this.
And please, God, make sure we know where the AED is at.
Clear.
What's awesome is Jim is now making fun of his own self, so we don't have to.
Yeah, what the heck? I mean, it's true. I can't help it. I've had 2 heart attacks. It happens to the best of us.
Oh goodness. What other questions do you guys have for Casey? Casey, do you have any philosophies in officiating that you live by, or that you would, having worked with us, that you would say, hey, I'm different than you guys in that regard, whatever it might be?
Well, I hope that list is long, but
sure.
No, I don't. There's a lot of things I wrestle with, like you go to the state tournament, and at one tournament they preach to you, hey, make sure that first foul is 100%er. Don't make something up. Make sure the first one's a good one. And then the next week they're telling you, you should have got some of that stuff early. And it's like, well, am I supposed to make it 100%, or am I supposed to get it early? Because it can't be both. So a lot of those philosophical things that you always are thinking about trying to improve your craft, I wrestle with those a lot. But my biggest one, and you kind of mentioned it, Ben, and I'm going to give Ben a little bit of a plug here. So I wasn't coaching. I was watching a game at CAM, and I don't even remember why I was there. I think my daughters were dancing, and I was still in the coaching realm, so I didn't pay attention to officials unless they messed up, right? But that was the first time I noticed an official work a game, and it just seems so simple. Ben, you made it look simple, and I'm like, man, he's not messing up, but he just makes the game look easy. And so I will give you that plug, because that was my first memory of you, even before I probably yelled at you.
That's right.
When you worked my games. But I guess what I was saying is, my biggest thing is I just don't get mad. Like, so one of my mentors, and I hate to even mention him because there's several, but Robert Johnson, good old Barney, Hall of Fame ref. I ref with him a couple times, and I was down somewhere far southwest Iowa. The game was awful. It was 4-2 at the end of the first quarter. That's all I remember. I was reffing angry. Like, I was going to show them like every mistake they're making by getting every travel. And and I remember he said to me at halftime, "Why are you mad? Like, why are you reffing so mad?" And I'm like, "Cause this is terrible." He's like, so anyway, as from that moment on, I'm like, I'm not going to ref mad, and I'm not going to ref, so I think that's where we're the beginning of taking some of the emotion out of it. I've always been fairly even keel, but yeah. So some of you guys get mad sometimes. Yeah, you need to.
We do.
Yeah,
I will say, Casey,
relax.
You've told me that story about Cam and about Barney and that situation. And I will say, that was probably one of my greatest faults as an official in the past, is I would get mad. And even so far as, one of the things that I've done is give a tee so hard that, we claim it broke my fingers, and we called that the fucker tee, right? I gave a fucker tee tonight. And I think, having had that conversation with you, as we become friends and good officiating buddies, I feel like I'm calmer now because of what you said and that philosophy. Like, why should I be mad about somebody doing it wrong or being an a-hole? Why not be above that, I guess? And so I've tried to be more you in that regard, I would say. So, well, thank you.
Yeah, and at the bottom of it, guys, it sounds terrible. I just don't care. Like, I don't care what a coach says. I've given 2 technicals in 10 years, and that probably I should do more of that. But it's not. I just don't care, and I probably let the line go too far. But the same thing with like the players. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the right way, but I'm just so detached from all that. I don't deal with it.
Well,
so
I will say this. I mean, I'll give you a plug too, Casey. Like, whenever I've worked with you, I feel like you present this aura of like calmness that I take on as well. And I several times there's been, a time where we come together during a timeout and you've been like, "Why are you so angry?" to me. And I'm like, what? And it was the same story, that you said. I'm like, this is horrible.
Well, to be fair, if our third is Jim, it might be because you're mad at Jim about something. But
well, probably.
They don't need any help.
Well, I mean, just
giving me a bad time. I don't want to hear it.
Put powder in his shoe or something at halftime. Or
who did that?
Dude, my shoe's still white from the state tournament. You make jerk.
I will say this about Ben. I appreciate your maturity, because working with Sam and Jim, it's like 2 middle school kids. I feel more like a middle school principal on the road going with Jim and Sam than anything.
Why
we're just trying to test you.
I
work with that kid. What do you want me to do?
What are you gonna do, Casey? Call my parents?
Give him his attention.
That's what it feels like.
And all that said, we went down to Creston and tossed 2 fans, Jim and I.
I didn't.
And Sam, you were there.
I was calm that night.
You were just on the wrong side of the court.
I was like, I'm gonna be Casey Pelzer and just be calm.
You were on the wrong side of the court was the only reason you didn't get into that situation.
I thought you tossed 1, and turns out there's 2 gone.
I didn't know there were 2 leaving until we got to the locker room that we threw.
You pointed at different people.
Well, who made the bad call to get started in the first place? That's what I want to know.
Sam.
Okay.
We were covering for Sam for sure.
Nope. It wasn't a bad call, but it was me who made the call. There was a tip out of bounds.
And how wasn't it bad?
So anyway, there's a long pass. Might have been a little contact between two players. You know, that is two going for the ball. Guy hits it out of bounds, and it's Creston's ball. They're getting it. And
Because not all
guys
contact is illegal contact.
it wasn't illegal. It was
Right,
both
Jim?
going for the ball. So, but it worked out in Creston's favor. Somebody who had been chirping all night long, Ben turns around, or first I turn around to see who it was. And the guy that spoke up to me was not the same guy that Ben was talking to. And he looked at me and he said, how did he said, he threw the F word out. I know that. He said, it was me. I fucking said it or something like that. And I said, you got to go. And then, like I said, this guy's walking out. The AD's coming across who was running the shot clock. He comes across, gets out. And we get in the locker room. We're talking about it. And we threw two different guys out and we didn't even know it till then.
At the same time.
That's laser focus.
I was about to stop because I hate that moment when you're trying to when you turn around and try to find the person. I never find them, and I look like, and I feel like an idiot, and I feel like an idiot looking for them because I'm like, they know what I'm. I don't know. That's the most awkward time of a game for me, so I don't even look them anymore. I don't look.
I will give a shout out to Brian Table, who's probably the best at this, and then Sam, you're really good at this too. Is finding that person way earlier in the game, knowing kind of right from the first quarter, okay, I know where that person is if the situation arises. Like, you guys are really good at finding that person. So we got to this from, you being calm. And that was a situation where it wasn't like we were worked up, but it got to a point where it was over the top and it had to be addressed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like Jim said, the AD was working at the table, so like he couldn't take care of it immediately. It wasn't great for us to have to do it, but that's the way it worked out. So anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say, I think you can throw somebody out and be happy about it. Like you can be calm and tee somebody up, or, it doesn't mean you're always angry or emotional. Sometimes it's necessary, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just warranted. You have to do it.
Yeah, but sometimes they call you sensitive.
Who got called sensitive? Sensitive Sam?
Sensitive Sam.
Be me.
And that bothered you?
Yes.
No, it didn't.
It bothered him.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
it
not
did.
Sensitive.
You teed him up, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Why? Because somebody called you sensitive?
No, they called me sensitive after I teed him up.
Weren't you there, Casey? Who was with us?
No.
It wasn't me.
Well, what?
Rich. It was Rich. Rich was with
It
us.
was Rich. Yeah.
Oh, why did you tee him up?
I don't remember. And going back on it, I shouldn't have teed him up. So he's probably right.
Okay.
I was probably a little sensitive that night.
Oh.
So Drew Shipley, who is on another podcast here with Three Beards, had a question for us. So since we're kind of talking philosophies here, I want to put this out there for us. What do you do when you know you blew a call? Keep command and control and not admit it, how he had always been taught, or admit it, subconsciously look for a makeup call. Thoughts?
Good
I'm
question.
going to say I don't think I'd look up for a makeup call. I've been over at the bench side sometimes, and I have made a bad call. I know it's hard for you to believe. And I've just told the coach, I missed it, or, that was the wrong call. I missed that travel. Whatever. But I don't know that I look for a makeup, because I just don't think I don't think you ever even it out if you're going to look at that. If that's the only thing you're doing is evening out a call where you were not sure or you didn't think you got right, you'd be making makeups all night long.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't look for a makeup call. I might say something like, you know what, coach, that's not the way I saw it. Play's over. Let's move on.
I would say before I even get to that point, I'm trying to always think about matching calls. If it looked this way and was called this way on one end, then we better have it similarly on the other end if it's a similar play.
Definitely agree to that.
So that everybody, I think most coaches would say, as long as we're consistent. And so if we have matching calls on consistent plays, I think for the most part, everybody's going to be happy. So then if we do blow one in that situation or any situation, at least you have the knowledge that, hey, I'm trying to get these right. I blew it. I'm going to be better next call. I think it's best to probably admit it, or, I'll try harder. You don't even have to maybe say, hey, I blew it, but I'll look harder at the next one or something like that.
I mean, I remember, as being a softball coach for 32 years, I got much better as my career went on. All I wanted was consistency and hustle and be in position. And I think that's the same as what we look for in basketball. We want to be consistent. We want to hustle and we want to be in position when we make calls. And, if I had a guy really get in a great position at third base and make a call that I wasn't sure, I thought maybe my girl was safe and he calls it out, move on, because at least he's doing his job as best he can, instead of calling it from over by second base and being out of position. So I think that's huge.
One thing Scott Giles taught me one time was on a travel call. Like if a coach is like, they traveled, he said, just look at the coach and say, which one was our pivot foot?
Yes.
Yeah.
And see what they say. I don't know.
Yep.
I thought that was a good one.
I have some mixed
and
thoughts.
I've used it.
Yeah. No, I like that. I have some mixed thoughts on what Ben had said about kind of matching calls. I've had some those have been my famous last words a few times. Now, one thing you guys are losing perspective of is you guys work together most all the time. Sometimes you get assigned with somebody and I'm not matching that call.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? In fact, I heard somebody, and I should know his name. I'm terrible with names. He refs at the state tournament every year. He's a great official. I think
Sam Anchor.
I want to try to laugh at that, but I can't even.
I will then.
But anyway, in his pregame, he had said, and I think I was the alternate that year, but the pregame he said, just don't match my mess ups. So just because one person makes a bad call, we're not going to match the same bad call on the other side. So I get what you're saying, and I know that's not what you meant, Ben, but some people might be listening and be like, oh, well, he makes a bad call. He's going to make the same bad call on the other end, or the partner might. But the way I handle missed calls, either for myself or somebody I'm working with, like I think sometimes it's forgotten that we're competitive too. And we're not out here trying to suck, right? Like we're trying to get better. And so the best way I've handled those is when I just tell them I'm mad at myself because I messed it up, right? So I think once they realize you're out there actually trying to make the right call and do your best, and you're busting your tail to get in position, then I think it's a pretty short-lived, events. If you're like, I don't like it. I wish I would have held my whistle or something, but I think they just want acknowledgement more than anything.
That's probably the good thing about film, in case you watch a ton of film, is being able most nights to go back and look at that play. Like, what could I have done better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's been
go ahead.
Yeah, there's been some calls. Sam's. I'm not going to mirror on the other end. He just.
Oh, I can agree with that 100%.
I wouldn't either if I were you.
And to your point a little bit, Casey.
Blacked out.
I probably took for granted your point of, yes, I work with these guys. So we generally have a pretty similar way we're going to call a similar play, if that makes sense. So you're right. I'm not going to want to match a call that I think is terrible on the other end with something terrible on this end, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
So going into that a little bit further, let's talk about the working with, people this year and future and so forth, just because we probably need to lead into that because we're getting far along in here.
Yep. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. So Well, Casey's worked with Ben and Sam off and on when I can't work a lot of times. Casey and I actually the first time we ever worked together was at the state tournament 2 years ago. And so that it was nice getting to meet Casey. I've heard about him through Ben and that for a long time, but so Casey will be working a little bit more with Ben and Sam some this year again. But in the future, he'll probably be working with them more than they will be working with me. This is going to be my last year of officiating varsity contest, full time. Who knows if there's something out there that, somebody really gets in a pinch. Ben calls me up and says, "Hey, I've got nobody for this Friday night game. Can you come and do it?" I probably will. But it's hard for me to say this number. I turned 60 in January, and I just know that, as everybody knows, the older you get, the harder it is sometimes to prepare for the season. And to, when you are very competitive, as we all four are, I know that, you want to be at your best all the time. And I don't ever want to get to that point where someone out there says, that Crozier should have been done 5 years ago. He's, he can't get up and down the floor anymore and blah, blah, blah. So I've made a conscious decision to focus a little bit more after this year on my grandkids, doing things in the winter with my wife that, for the past however many years I have, we just, I might be gone Tuesday and Friday every week. So, and I'm kind of a little bit sad about it, but I'm also, looking forward to having some free time in that and going out and getting to watch some games and hopefully maybe even get the chance to evaluate people at different places, especially at Melcher Dallas where where I'm the AD. So this is definitely my last year being a full-time varsity official.
How many years, Jim?
I believe this year will be a total of maybe 28, but I've been reffing since 1986. So I started then when I was actually, I think it was 85. I was a sophomore in college, and I started reffing then, doing a lot of junior high and JV. It was great college money for extra things that you wanted to buy on the side. Then I took one stint when I first got my very first teaching job in Prescott, Iowa. I coached basketball there. And then once I got to Melcher, I coached a couple seasons early with the boys. And then I started refereeing again full-time and was lucky enough in that period of time to make 3 state tournaments before my daughters got into high school. And I said, okay, I'm going to either watch or coach. And I volunteered 1 year, and then the head coach left and I took over head coaching for a few years. That's where Ben and I met, and we had conversations on the floor a few times, but it was mainly about maybe somebody else and not him. But then I got back into the officiating. So I've actually been officiating, for about 40 years, right in there. And not a complete 40 years on the floor. It's just, I took some breaks coaching here and there. So it's time. My body tells me a little bit that it's time, but I want to keep in shape somehow. But so like, again, I said, it is kind of sad in a way, because I know I won't won't have the relationship of being out there on a Tuesday, Friday with my buddies and that refereeing. But it's like, I got a lot of other things I can be doing that are going to be, a lot of fun in that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you, Jim. All jokes aside, we're gonna miss you, but we'll make this next year the best year yet.
Yeah, I'm really ready for this season. I think it's going to be fun because I'm going to make sure it's fun. If it's going to be my last, it's going to be fun.
For sure. We'll definitely miss you, and it's been a good run. So. As we kind of talked beforehand, Jim's still going to join us on the podcast as often as he can. And hopefully, Casey will continue to ref with us and be a part of this podcast when he can too. So that's kind of our plan anyway, going forward. And, like I said, we have a big season, and we'll just kind of keep taking it year by year on what everybody's doing. So
Yeah.
Yep.
it's been fun.
Oh gosh, yeah. A bit of
Only
both.
request I have this year, I have some games with Bennett. I need to get on the floor with Jim. One of you guys needs to stay home.
I'm out.
I was hoping it would be Sam that wouldn't be
I
going.
was going to say Jim and Sam are not my favorite combination to do it. But
And like I said, we're gonna make this the best year ever.
Awesome.
Jim's probably my favorite of the three to work with, and I just want to make sure that I get at least one more time on the floor with him. So
Oh, definitely. We'll make that happen. I'm
We're only
you know,
saying that because he's retiring.
I've thought
I want to try to find a
while.
date where I work with my brother too. He's kind of the one who got me into officiating. My brother Mike, he still referees. He lives in Northwood, Iowa. But we've talked to Tim and Bryant. I'd like to get a game in with them sometime also. So, hopefully I get to work with a lot of some of the people I really want to work with in this last year. But I want to keep doing what I've been doing with Ben and Sam also this year.
So 24-25, the farewell gym
Farewell
tour.
tour. Yeah.
Love it.
You got any plans like the last game? You're gonna leave your shoes at half court, or your whistle, or your jacket, or something?
You don't know how many times I've actually thought about that. Just laying the whistle down on the floor. But then who wants to pick up my whistle?
You don't think about that.
Okay.
If it's at the boys' state tournament, those gals or whatever that sweep the floor, or the suits, they'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll probably pick it up and use
honestly
it.
to leave my whistle. I'm not leaving my shoes. I'd spend too much money on those babies.
I'm gonna trade those in for the white New Balance.
Yeah.
Catchers.
Walking down the beach in his white New Balance with his white socks hiked up. Love it.
Don't forget the
Calf
cargo
high.
shorts.
And the bucket hat.
Love it.
Yes.
Lisa just yelled at me from the bedroom. She said, "In my Speedo."
Yikes.
Yes.
I don't have one, guys. I don't have one.
I apologize to our listeners that have to see that in their head. I think we're probably about done here. We're at, an hour 20. A few things we'll kind of talk about we'll try to keep doing this every 2 weeks now, I think, right, guys?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And Casey, you can join us whenever it works for you.
Yeah, whenever you need a bump in viewers, just give me a call. Let me know.
Look at this. We're up to 114 viewers right now.
There you go.
Wow. Hey, one thing I'd like for you to talk about too is just talk about, the one you have the upcoming schedule. I'd like for you to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, we're still kind of working on our full schedule.
Oh, where did Sam go?
Oh, who cares?
Yeah,
we
no
know where
kidding.
he's at. We're still working on our full schedule, and hopefully I need to work with you guys on that in the next week or so here to get that all finalized. But every year at the beginning of the season, we do some scrimmages, and one of those is called a pride scrimmage. I think it allows an extra game for the boys teams. Is that right, Jim? You probably know more about that than I do.
It's actually, I think now they changed it to the Achieve scrimmage.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it allows everybody to get a kind of a game in early. It's called a scrimmage, but it's really played as a game because if you do have a scrimmage, you're not allowed to run the scoreboard as far as score. You can run it for time and that. And this is the Achieve scrimmages are nice because it's ran like a regular game. So
Right.
yeah, it'll be a boy and a girl game.
And we're going to do that November 22nd. I believe that's me and Sam working with you there
Right.
at the Melcher Dallas gym. And I believe that's the first game in that new gym.
It'll be the first basketball game in that gym. And, we have been just waiting for this gym to be done. This is 3 years without a gym. Our kids have, they've weathered the storm well, and it's been tough. But they're it's nice to go in there and watch them playing volleyball right now, practicing. They've got 2 nets set up. They were practicing in the elementary gym for the past 3 years. That what elementary gyms are like, and one net, and we've got 22 kids I think out right now for volleyball, so they've got 2 nets up. And so we are. I mean, our kids are excited, I think, about this year, and we are just very grateful for the facility that we have. I mean, I really think for our size of school, it's top notch. So I'm excited about that. We're going to break that in for basketball. We're planning on kind of having a big night that night. So I think even our superintendent, he was a former actual music teacher, band teacher instructor at Melcher Dallas, and coach girls basketball. And he wants to play the national anthem on the saxophone. So
oh, nice.
We're excited. We're really gonna make that a big deal.
Good. Sam and I, we'll talk maybe next time about kind of what we did this summer. But Sam and I worked a scrimmage over at Petla with a couple friends, and stopped in Melcher Dallas that night to come to your softball game and kind of surprise you, and peeked in the weight room and the gym there, and it looks fantastic. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
and
it really does.
Just the fleur-de-lis on the weights floor. And the weights, floor, and all of it's cool as heck. So
yep,
it is
pretty exciting.
A few other things we'll kind of touch base on as we kind of hit our next episodes is rule changes for 24 and 25. We've been gone so long. We could talk about March Madness, kind of some of the things we've seen there. I think we deserve probably an episode maybe to talk about Caitlin Clark. And we have some connections with some coaches and different things that I think will make that episode kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah.
The Olympics just happened, the basketball there, and even the officiating there, I think, is worth discussing. And then we have a lot of plans for future guests. Like I said, we have. I want to continue to have more refs on that we can talk about their normal lives and their jobs. And one of them, if I don't know, when you guys were kids, did you watch the State Fair show on PBS?
Oh yeah.
I love that. And so I was watching that.
I'm not sure I'm old enough.
It's still on.
Yes.
And I happened to Sunday, they had like a marathon of all week, the 10 days, they have like a show for every night. And I caught a bunch of them, and it was fantastic. So it kind of took me back. But somebody that you might have seen on there is a basketball official. And so I think he will bring a unique perspective if I can get him on here. So that's something to kind of keep in touch for. Like I said, I want to have Joe back on. I want to have Ben Van Wyk back on. We also have an official that was in March Madness this year. I believe he was even in the Sweet 16, if I remember correctly. So we need to try to get him on here as well. But so that's kind of what some of our going forward plans, and hope you guys will all stick with us and enjoy it. But
nice comment, Casey.
Just letting you know if you need some.
We'll get back to you on that, Casey.
Yeah, brain check.
We'll let you know.
One last thing here I want to show. With everything else we got going on with Three Beards now, we also have merch.
Yes.
Yeah, Jim, did you sign mine yet?
I plan on it here pretty quick. Do you have that fee that I said I was going to charge you?
I had to ask Ben what that even meant.
You didn't know what nominal fee meant?
Nominal. I'm just an administrator. I don't know.
That's probably the same thing as one of those preschool toys.
Yeah, whatever that thing was.
An abacus?
Yeah.
Calculator.
Oh man.
Anyway,
yes.
if anybody really wants to buy our stuff, out on our Facebook page on Three Beards you can find the link to that. But we'll also probably be providing our guests with some merch, as a thank you for joining us. So
sorry, Casey, you don't have it yet.
When are you starting that?
Next week.
After Kate, after you.
Well,
it always starts after the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
Fair.
I think that's it.
Awesome.
Casey, if just so you know how this works, we're going to play the end and you stay on, and we're all going to talk after we shut it down. So
Sam
I thought
will
you should
leave
know that.
sometimes and just doesn't even know what's going on.
Okay. Well, thanks
I
for
got
having
3
me on.
kids, man. I
Hey,
gotta
thanks
put
for
them to
being on,
bed.
Casey. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely. Thanks, Casey.
yeah. I had to wait a little longer than I think I should have, but
Well, you pushed hard enough. Here you are.
Thanks for joining us, and we appreciate you all, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks.